or to be more precise, Python dictionaries. Okay, so we've seen the list, Python list, we've seen the Python tuple. Now we're looking at dictionaries, and let's understand what they are, how we can work with them and use them. Okay, a Python dictionary is used to store data values in key value pair formats. Okay, a Python dictionary is used to do what? Store data values in a key value pair format. Okay, so what do we mean? Let's say we have a dictionary, a D1, okay, curly braces, all right, curly braces. Then I can go ahead to do what? Start putting in my values. Now, just like our normal variable where we have the variable, then the value, okay, in this particular one we have a key, which is mostly the first part, okay, then we have what? The value, which is also what? The second part, okay, the second part, right? So that is it. We have the key, we have what? The value, okay, we have the key, we have the value, right? So again, we go with this, okay. So the first part, the brand, okay, is the key. Y, the Ford, is what? The value. The year, the key. Y, the what? 2025 what? Is the value. So just like a dictionary, a normal variable and value will look like, just like we have D1 is equals to our curly braces with the dictionary inside of it, okay? The equal sign denotes what? The assignment. In the same case, this column denotes that Ford belongs to what? Brand, right? Okay, that's what this is all about. As simple as it is. So this is what a Python dictionary looks like. Okay. Now I can go ahead to do what? Print it. Okay. Then it's basically going to output what I just wrote. Okay. It's basically going to output what I just wrote. Okay. So that is that with dictionaries. Now if I'm to create an empty dictionary, okay, I'll have to use what? Just the curly braces. But before we get to that part, let's look at how we access values. Okay, after we have done writing this. Again, you define your variable, you assign it to what? The dictionaries. You start by saying what? Putting the curly braces. Okay, then you now put in what? The key, column, the value. The key, column, the value. Okay, all separated by what? Comma. Each pair of key value should be separated with what? Comma. Each pair of key value should be separated with what? Comma. Okay? Accessing the items or elements in a dictionary. Okay? Moving ahead to trying to get items of a dictionary. Remember how we talked about list being indexed, okay? In the same way, dictionary has something similar, but not the indexes that we know about with list and tuple. Okay, so for dictionaries, the index is not 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Rather, the key forms our index. Okay, the keys form our index. Remember our explanation when we said a list is mutable or changeable, allows duplicates, and is ordered, right? Dictionary tuple, we said tuple is indexed or ordered, allows duplicate values but unchangeable. Then we came to dictionaries and we said dictionaries don't allow duplicate values and they are what ordered, okay, and they are what changeable, okay. So in that same way, we would say for us to get values, okay, we should use our what variable name d1 square bracket again. Remember, the square bracket is always used for what assessing value, okay. Now instead of putting 012 012 that we normally put for list or tuple, what we need to put here is what the key, okay, the key. That is what we'll put. So if I put year over here and I'm printing this, right, what I will get is 20 what 25, as simple as that, okay. So we've done this so many times that it should be second nature to us by now, okay. Done this so many times that it should be second nature to us by now, okay. So the keys gives us what the order, and then we don't refer to them in index. We don't have 0 1 2 3 4 like other ones. All we have, or all we care about, is which key comes first, which key comes second. Then when we say that dictionary is changeable, it means that we can update it, as you all know. Then does not allow duplicate value, like I told us the first time, is strictly referring to the keys as well. The keys are these ones that come first. Keys come before the what? The column. Okay? Keys come before the column. Keys come before the column. Okay? So I can't have ye 2 times or have brand 4 times. Okay? It won't allow me. What will happen is the last brand or the last year becomes the actual value or the true value. If I go ahead to say, let's copy the whole of this, okay, and call it D2, okay, and call it D2, and I go ahead to say I add another year, okay, another year, and I said this one is now 2026, for instance, and I go ahead to just execute this, okay. Notice I only get 1 year returned back to me. I still get what? 1 year returned back to me because of what? The last year overwrote what was before it. Okay, so that is, it does not allow duplicate key values. That is the word. Okay, I can have another name here. Instead of putting this year, I can call it engine, okay, year or something, whatever. Okay, so and I execute this one. Okay, now I can have what? Okay, it's not a duplicate. I can put 2025 as well here. Okay, so that it's basically duplicate values. So I can have values that are the same, duplicate values, but I can't have key names being what? The same. That is just the rule. I can have values being the same, but the key shouldn't be what? The same. Okay? So it doesn't allow duplicate keys. Very, very important. Okay, let's look at another example. D3 is equals to dictionary. And in this dictionary, we still have brand. Again, you're still working with Ford. Okay. And again, start working with electric as a new key. And here you are saying force. Okay. Then you are saying the year 2023 or 2021. Okay. Then colors. Okay. Color is going to be a list. So this car comes in red, black, and white. So that's the color the car comes in. Okay, very good. Okay, so what we have now is we have strings, right? The value of our brand is a string. the electric is what? A Boolean value. Okay. Is it electric or is not electric? That is true or false. Okay. Then ye is an integer value. Then the color is what? A list value. Okay. So meaning that our dictionary can contain what? Other data types and what? Data structures. Okay. Other data types and what? Data structures. Okay. So I can go ahead and print D3. Okay. And it should give me everything that I need. Okay. Now, just for sake of explanation, I can have something like this. Let's just go it forward. Okay. And BMW. Okay, just for some simplicity, let's keep it at this two, and it should still work. Okay, so meaning that my key can also be what? Numbers as well. Okay, so my key can be numbers, or my key can be what? String values. Okay, but the most important thing is that the key should be something that would not change. Okay, the key should be something that should not change. That is the most important thing. Okay, it can be numbers, it can be values or strings. Okay, so that is that. Again, if I want to get colors, all I have to do is to do what? Print D3 square brackets. I'll put what? Colors. Okay.
Or by D2. I'm not getting the same answer.
Okay, so let's start by adding or making changes to an already existing what? Dictionary. Let's say, for instance, that we don't want our D3, that we made a mistake, and we want to change this electric to become true in our D3. Okay? We want to set our electric to be what? True in our D3. Okay? So how would we go about that? Again, everything starts from what? The base, and the bases are what? The variable name. Okay? So square brackets, right? Then we'll put in what? Electric. Electric is the key that we are targeting. Okay? Now I'm going to set the new value to it, which is what? True. If I go ahead to print the whole of D3, okay, I should have electric as what? True. Instead of what? False. You know, before it was false. Before it was false over here. Okay, it was false before. Now, because if I made changes over here, okay, setting electric to what? True. Now, when I now printed D3, electric is now what? True. So all through our code, electric will remain what? True, unless I do the same kind of change again. Okay? Unless I do the same kind of what? Changes again. So this is basically how we assign or make modification to a value in a dictionary, similar to what we do with our lists. Like I told you, most of these things are just similar, just little changes. Our lists, our string, our dictionary, just little changes. Okay? They're almost the same thing, almost the same way of operation. Once you've understood one, you can grasp the other one. D3 square brackets, yeah, okay, is now equals to 20 what? 25. While we are still at this, what happens if I add a key and a value that does not exist? Okay, if I want to make changes to a key and a value that does not exist. Okay, so let's say I'm adding let's say I'm adding what does not exist here. Okay, engine type. Okay, let's say we added engine type, and I'll say v what 8 engine for whatever reason. Let us go v8 engine. All right, and I'm printing what d3. So you also notice that the v8 engine was what added. All right. So when you are trying to modify a what's it called a dictionary, and you mistakenly use a key that is not there, it will not give you an error. It will just create the key for you and assign a value there. Okay. So that is one thing to note. It's not like it's a bad thing. It's just that you should be careful when you're making changes. It's like you're sure that you're changing what you want to change. And then this is also another way of creating new values. Okay? So we create new values like this. That's why you have to be careful when you're using it to make changes. If you put a key or you misspell the key name, it will not tell you that this is wrong. You just create that one for you and dump it there. Okay? Just know that. That is how dictionary works. Okay, so this is how we add items. Okay? This is how we add items. And list, we can also add using .append. We're going to see methods of dictionaries shortly. You can see other ways of adding items as well. Okay, but this is my easiest way of adding items, this particular way. The next thing we're going to look at is looping through dictionaries. Okay. Now for looping, like we saw yesterday, we had for loop, and I told us that the I is basically like a placeholder. Okay. In let's go with D3. Okay. Print I. Okay. Now notice that I'm getting my results out, but I'm not getting what I was expecting. Okay, you remember yesterday in dictionaries, sorry, in list, when we printed for I in a list, we got the items, the actual values in the list. But for dictionaries, when we print for I in a dictionary, we don't get the actual values, we get the keys returned back to us. Okay, so that is what dictionary does for us. You don't get the values, but what the keys returned back to us. So if we now want the values, we have to do it in a different way. Okay, we have to do it in a different way. Okay, so a comment would be this returns the keys only. Okay, so this returns the keys only. Then I'll copy this and paste. Then I can now say this returns values only. All I'm going to do is to do what? Add D3 square brackets, open and close. Okay, and then I will execute. Now the difference between the first one and the second one is basically simple. Remember that by default, if I want to get the value, I will pass in what? The key. Right? If I want to get the value, I pass in the key. So when I was looping, I was getting all the keys. Okay? So all I needed to do was, since I'm getting the keys and my interest is the value, I have to pass them through what? The dictionary. Okay, so each time the I comes in, it's going to return the value for that particular what? Key. So when brand came in, it would now look something like this that we normally write. Okay, D3. Okay, which this will give us what? Our Ford, right? So in the same way, each time the I comes in, the I will now return what? Whatever the brand is, and then or whatever the key is. So the key for the value for brand is what? Ford. This one is electric 2, EA 225, and the colors are what? That. Okay? So that is the difference between looking for keys only and looking for what? Values only. Okay? That's just that. That's what it took me like some time to actually understand this concept, but put it simply, instead of writing the key inside of the square bracket to get it one at a time, we're using a loop to do it. Okay, to get all of them at a time, not think of it that way. So each time the I enters, the I is becoming what? Each of the keys one at a time, and then running it through the big succession and returning everything back to us. Okay? That is that. So we're going to come to the second to the last thing for dictionaries. Second to the last thing for dictionaries. We're going to combine these two things in one for loop. Okay? Combining these two things in one for loop. Very simple. Then we look at nested dictionaries, which is briefly. And we now look at methods. Okay? So to combine these two in one for loop is very, very simple. Okay, very simple. For I in D3, okay, our column print, okay, again our F strings, okay, and inside of it, I'm going to say the key is, I'm going to put I, and the value is, I'm going to put D3 square bracket I. Okay, then as a result, maybe I'm going to just add a full stop at the end. Okay, so that would be like printing them all in one single line. When I execute it, I'm getting the key is brand and the value is what for, the key is electric and the value is what true. Just basically making a sentence with it, as simple as that. Okay. Can actually even add maybe a quote around it, so around them, so that it shows that it's basically unique, and probably something that looks like this. Okay, so Okay, so this is me creating a nested dictionary. Okay, a dictionary that has dictionaries as what? Values. Okay, so the dictionary, the upper outer one, okay, having dictionaries as its what? Value. Okay, so our aim is to figure out or find out um how to access the inner dictionaries. Okay, how do we access the inner dictionaries? So it's something that is quite simple. Um, you just have to approach it in the order we are looking at. We wrote it. Okay, we approach it in the order we wrote it. To get the inner dictionary, we have to get the outer dictionary first. Okay, from the outer dictionaries, we now move one step inward to the what? Inner dictionary. Okay? That's basically the idea. So let's say I want to get the age of Peter Pan. Okay, what we are going to write is very, very simple. We'll start by getting Peter Pan first. Okay, then we now move towards getting the age from Peter Pan. Okay? That's just the idea. We get Peter Pan first, then we get the age from what? Peter Pan. So that's how nested dictionary will work. Then if I'm to do a loop as well, still the same thing. I loop through the keys of the first one first, then loop through the other one second, and then get what I want out of it. Okay, so it's still the same concept. So we'll just look at it briefly and then we jump into methods. So now so we are getting what? Peter Pan first. Okay, Peter Pan. Okay, so now we have Peter Pan. The next thing we are targeting is what? The age, right? So age is basically adding another square bracket. Okay, and writing what? Age. And if I execute this, I will get what? 20, basically, which is the age. Okay, so that is that. So if you do the same thing for the class, all you have to do is to swap age for what? Class, and then you have what? Same results. Yeah, so finally got what I wanted to see. Okay, so what I wanted to see. Yes. So see. Um, so this is me looping through the list and looping through the one inside to get what I want to achieve. So my idea was I wanted to get only the classes out of the list. That's the internal classes. Okay, that's what I wanted to get. So, and for me to achieve that, I can do it like this, 1-1, or I do it like this. Okay, this is basically looping to the outer one. Okay, and this second loop is looping to the inner one. And I'm using an if statement to check if the key is equal to class. So when it's class, I print. If it's not class, I don't print. Okay, that is the idea. So, with this, we've been able to at least control our application to only return classes from the what? Inner dictionary, basically. We return classes from the what? Inner dictionary. So these are things that you get used to when you're working with your pandas. You might be doing things similar to this. Okay, so it's very, very important to see all of this and grasp the idea behind it. We're done so that we can look at methods, which is the last thing for dictionaries. look at methods, which is the last thing for dictionaries. And our interest is in, well, let's say 4 methods. Okay, our interest will be in 4 methods. The dot get, okay, dot get method. Um, let's see how it goes. So start with underscore nd or nd underscore dot get. Now I'm going to just put Peter Pan. Okay. And I'm going to do what? Execute it. Now this is just a default mechanism from what's it called? Jupyter Notebook. It's not part of Python's behavior to print something without using the print. But because of we are using Jupyter Notebook, okay, we can just do something like that. Alright, so it's this is already something. If I put it, let's see if I put an N like so and execute it. Okay, I'm expecting an error. I don't know why it's taking time, but I'm expecting an error. Okay, so that is to tell you that it can't find it, and it's probably supposed to throw me an error. I don't know. Why is it not giving an error? That's crazy. Well, ideally, it's supposed to give me an error. I don't know why it's behaving this way. Okay, so so let me put something that is not. Okay, so it's returning none, right? So by default, it returns none. And it's giving an error, right? So, well, that is it for that. So none. Yeah, I guess that was why it was not displaying anything. No. So the other one is what? N D dot what? Items. Okay, so dot items is used to return the key and the value together. Dot items is used to return the key and the value together. So it gives you a list of tuples having key value. Okay, a list of tuple having key value. Okay, that is for the what's it called? Dot items, right? Dot items. So the other one, okay. So let's say nd dot update, right? Update. Now this is equivalent to the list append, okay, that allows us to add items, but it's also more than the append, okay, because you can make changes to an already existing key in the dictionary, and then it will change. I can add a new one, and it will allow me add a new one. So I'm going to do both. Okay. So for this case, I'm going to specify new. I'm going to say not the empty like this, and I'm going to close it like so, and I'm going to execute it, and I'm going to print n underscore d. So I should see the last thing now has the empty one. Now I'm going to go ahead and update it. Copying and pasting it over here. So instead of leaving it empty, I'm going to add the age, and it's going to be a 2-year-old guy or baby, anyone. Then I'm going to add no class, no class, nothing. I'm updating it, and I'm going to print nd. Yeah. So now I updated an already existing one. Also, I was able to add a new one using the same words update. Okay. Right now, we know what dot clear will do to wipe things. Okay, and give us an empty dictionary. So before I do dot clear, I'm going to do dot pop. Okay. Before I do dot clear, I'm going to do dot pop so that dot clear becomes the last thing that we do. If you can still remember, dot pop in list allows us to use an index to remove things, and the equivalent of an index in dictionaries is what? Our key. Okay, so that means our dot pop will require us to put what? A key for us to what? Delete or remove.
So is that age?
Yes, age, column 2. And the let's just do this print and underscore d dot pop. I'm going to pop out the new guy. Okay, then I'm going to print n underscore d. All right, so now, like always, dot pop will take the thing out and hold it without deleting it. Okay, so if I still need it, I can still use it if I save the dot pop to a variable. Okay, if I don't save the dot pop to a variable, it will delete that thing permanently. Okay, but if I save it to a variable, I can retrieve it and put it back if I so wish. So as you can see, the nd does not have any other words new dictionary at the end. It only has 2 we started with because of what? Dot pop removed it. Okay, even though it's still stored here, as you can see, but if I don't store it to a variable, it's deleted permanently. Okay, so that is that. The last thing for dictionaries is clear. Okay, so nd dot clear, then I'll print n underscore d. I have an empty dictionary, so nothing is there any longer. So that is that. So we went from creating a dictionary that has 1 or 2 items, one level, okay, to creating 2-dimensional dictionaries that have dictionaries as values. You can actually interact with them. So actually taking all those things and clearing it and returning back to an empty dictionary.